Hello, this is Stephanie, and this is Talk Tales and Trivia, the show where I talk about society, culture, pop culture, and I throw in a little bit of trivia too, so that you can stump your family and friends. It is so much fun. Listen here, I am a mad researcher when it comes to all those topics I research and that trivia I give you because I want you to have something to talk about during the holiday season. And that is so much fun, and I want that for you. But first, let me welcome you if you are a first-time listener to Talk Tales and Trivia, and I thank you so much, so very much, for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. So now everybody sit around, relax, listen, and enjoy this episode on the old New Year's Eve classic, Auld Lang Syne. I hope that you enjoy it. Well, when this time of year rolls around, you probably will hear one song and one song in particular, seemingly over and over again. Quick note here, I was listening to my Christmas traditional songs and I kept hearing it. But what song am I talking about? Well, I just told you, Auld Lang Syne. It does have a rather big nostalgia meaning to it, and along with it, here in the United States, a bit of sadness, and usually marks an emotional scene or reaction. The song Auld Lang Syne was originally written in Scottish. When taken apart and put back together again, it actually means Old Long Since, and is translated yet again to mean old time's sake, or for the sake of old times. This song that is mostly sung and means the emotional conclusion to another year. And don't we need that? It also means that one must remember people from their past and raise a toast to them. Originally, it was written many, many years ago as a Scottish celebration song. Auld Lang Syne is actually a Scottish language poem written by Robert Burns in 1788. And set to the tune of a traditional folk song. But did you know that in the Netherlands, it is a soccer anthem? And in Japan, it is a song about fireflies. And in South Korea, it was the national anthem until 1948. It is known as being easily adaptable in mostly all musical styles. That is why it is so cool. But at its core, it is well known in many countries, especially in the English-speaking world, its traditional use being to bid farewell to the old year at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. It is also sung at funerals, graduations, and as a farewell or ending to other occasions. The international scouting movement in many countries uses it to close jamborees and other functions. And a little note here, when I was watching The Crown on Netflix, they sung it when they said goodbye to the Prime Minister. Certainly most of us know the song Auld Lang Syne, but to quote from the first stanza of the English version of the James Watson ballad, here it goes. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never thought upon, the flames of love extinguished and fully past and gone, is thy sweetheart now grown so cold, that loving breast of thine, that thou canst never once reflect on Auld Lang Syne. In Scotland, it is common practice that everyone joins hands with the person next to them to form a great circle around the dance floor. At the beginning of the last verse, everyone crosses their arms across their breast so that the right hand reaches out to the neighbor on the left side and vice versa. When the tune ends, everyone rushes to the middle while still holding hands. When the circle is re-established, everyone turns under the arms to end up facing outward with hands still joined. In countries other than Scotland, the hands are often crossed from the beginning of the song at variance with Scottish custom. And did you know this Scottish practice was demonstrated by Queen Elizabeth II at the Millennium Dome celebrations for the year 2000? Some press outlets berated her for not properly crossing her arms. She was unaware that she was incorrectly following the Scottish tradition. And because of its easy tune and melody, it was also used as a song to signify for the war to end, having the title, I Wish the War Was Over. And it was a popular anti-slavery song entitled Fling Out the Anti-Slavery Flag. Both were utilizing Auld Lang Syne as the basis for those songs. If you listen closely, you can hear the song Auld Lang Syne in many movies too. Well, did you know that? These movies are Wee Willie Winkle, a 1937 Shirley Temple movie when her character sings to console a dying soldier. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, the 1939 movie. Ocean's 11, the original of 1960, as background music. And The Poseidon Adventure, one of my favorites, that was made in 1972. Ghostbusters in 1989, When Harry Met Sally in 1989 as well. Forrest Gump in 1994, and Elf in 2003. And most notably, the very last song that is in the movie, It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. It is, after all, probably the best feel-good ending in a classic movie ever, with plenty of emotion for the main character at the last scene of the movie, which brings George Bailey, the main character, to tears as he acknowledges how great life really is. And it is always at the stroke of midnight, composer Guy Lombardi would play it on the radio and continued the tradition for 50 years. Afterwards, Dick Clark took it up to play at the stroke of midnight on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve every year in New York City as the big ball dropped at the stroke of midnight. But after Dick Clark retired from the show, Ryan Seacrest did the same at the stroke of midnight every year. They all had something in common with playing the song. It was in remembrance of those that came before and at the same time to mark the new year. All the fans and celebrators would sing along to the classic song. So this year, 2020, when the clock strikes 12 a.m., sing along to this classic song, even if you don't know all the words. We are indeed saying goodbye to 2020 in hopes of better years to come. Hey, listen, if you've enjoyed this episode of Talk Tales and Trivia, go to talktalesandtrivia.com to listen to all my episodes. Get to my social media links. And guess what else? There's a little bio on me if you're wondering what I'm all about. And you can email me, talktalesandtrivia@gmail.com. That's me. Listen, also, I want to tell you that if you've enjoyed Talk Tales and Trivia, you may very well, I bet, enjoy my second podcast, Growing Uncomfortable. Go to growinguncomfortable.com to listen to all my episodes. My social media links are there, and that bio on me, if you're wondering what I'm all about, is there as well. One more thing I have to tell you before I leave you, and that is that you can subscribe for free to both Talk Tales and Trivia and Growing Uncomfortable, and you get the notifications of when new episodes come out, and that is so cool. Okay, listen, I got to get out of here. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Talk Tales and Trivia, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.